Did you know that there once existed an ancient race of red-haired cannibalistic giants inhabiting the Americas? If you are familiar with the work of men such as Steve Quayle, then the answer to this question is undoubtedly yes, and you are well informed. However, if your worldview is primarily a product of public schooling or a credulous concoction of mainstream news, then the information of this analysis and its forthcoming episodes may be shocking to you, as you may discover that much of what you think you know about the world in which you live is poppycock. The problem is that we have all been sold a bill of goods concerning the ancient history of not only North America, but the entire planet. We have all been suckered, swindled out of the truth by fast-talking, credential-toting intellectuals who, like Kirby vacuum salesmen, have jammed their foot into the door and hustled their way into our homes, cramming their cockamamie theories and absurd postulations down our throats through television programming and public education. It is no wonder, then, that the undeniable evidence of giants in North America has been largely ignored and even covered up. That there were giants in America is a fact no honest archaeologist can dispute. Their bones and the remnants of their ancient culture are scattered across the landscape of the United States, often situated right under the unsuspecting nose of a quiet suburban town, or even a sprawling metropolis. As Americans, we have been taught to look across the seas for evidence of advanced ancient civilizations, when in reality, the very same evidences are to be found just as bountifully within the confines of our own shores. Contrary to our educational programming, the red-skinned native peoples were not the first to inhabit North America. There were, residing in the land before them, according to their own records and legends, an assorted race of monstrous giants among other humanoid entities. Many of these giants were not only over 15 feet tall, but had red or blonde hair and beards, elongated skulls, double rows of teeth, and 6 instead of 5 digits on their hands and feet. The Native American tribes were terrified and often terrorized by the 6-fingered giants, and still tell tales of their infamy to this day. It is said in their legends that some of the cannibalistic clans of giants would hunt them down like wild animals and devour their flesh, even while they were still alive. The natives' ubiquitous custom of raising the hand when approaching one another, trivialized in Hollywood films, was instituted by them for very good reason. 6 fingers was a universal sign of malevolence and an indication that you were not of ordinary human stock. Buffalo Bill Cody famously recorded in his autobiography that while scouting in the sandhills of the Niobrara country, the Pawnee Indians brought into camp some very large bones, one of which the surgeon of the expedition pronounced to be the thigh bone of a human being. The Indians said the bones were those of a race of people who long had lived in that country. They said these people were 3 times the size of a man of the present day, and that they were so swift and strong that they could run by the side of a buffalo, and taking the animal in one arm, could tear off a leg and eat it as they ran. Many such tales abound in the traditions of the Native American peoples. Even if the details of some of the legends concerning giants have been embellished over time, the physical evidence of their enormous bones testifies to the truth of their existence and gives credence to the stories. In forthcoming episodes of this topic, we will review the physical evidence of giants in North America and will analyze some of the most thoroughly documented cases. But before we get into the bones, we need to understand why there is a hostile effort to conceal them. The conspiracy is often referred to as Smithsonian Gate, a term which is meant to imply an explicit cover-up on the part of the Smithsonian Institution concerning any and all artifacts that could undermine either the traditional narrative of American history or the hollowed theory of evolution by natural selection. Clearly, the discovery of 18 9-foot-tall human-like entities with strange facial features and elongated skulls, such as the ones that were unearthed in Wisconsin and reported on in the 4th of May 1912 edition of the New York Times, create major problems for an institution that propagates both the idea that indigenous peoples who migrated from Northeast Asia were the only pre-Columbian dwellers of North America, and that modern man is the apex of evolution on planet Earth. In truth, prestigious historical institutions, such as the Smithsonian, have only two options when confronted with evidence that undermines their traditional views. A. Conform to the evidence and change the history books. Or B. Conceal the evidence and maintain the status quo. It is abundantly apparent which policy the Smithsonian has elected to adopt. We can therefore confirm with absolute certainty that Smithsonian Gate is not just a kooky conspiracy concocted by tinfoil-wearing paranoids, but an intentional policy actively implemented by not only the Smithsonian, but all of the premier historical institutions around the globe, since the same evidence of giants can be found on every continent and has been likewise ignored and covered up. Ross Hamilton, author of the book This Land, America 2000 BC to 500 AD, writes the following: Modern-day archaeology and anthropology have nearly sealed the door on our imaginations, broadly interpreting the North American past as devoid of anything unusual in the way of great cultures, characterized by a people of unusual demeanor. The great interloper of ancient burial grounds, the 19th century Smithsonian Institution, created a one-way portal through which unaccounted bones have been spirited. This door and the contents of its vault are virtually sealed off to any but government officials. Among these bones may lay answers not even sought by these officials concerning the deep past. Vine Deloria, the famous American Indian author and activist, concurs in a personal communication. It's probably better that so few of the ruins and remains were tied in with the Smithsonian, because they give good reason to believe the ending of the Indiana Jones movie, a great warehouse where the real secrets of Earth's history are buried. The skeptics will of course claim that no such cover-up exists, and that the bones of giants discovered in America, though hidden from the public's eyes, are surely being competently studied by scientific professionals. This kind of absurd logic actually makes the Indiana Jones conspiracy even more believable. Who can forget the famous line at the end of the movie, when Dr. Jones asks the government man about who exactly was researching the Ark of the Covenant?
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
Finally, contrary to popular belief, the prime objective of institutionalized archaeology is not to uncover the truth, but to conceal it. The more we explore, the more we dig, the more we unearth, the more we discover that the biblical narrative is true. A fact that the Luciferian liege lords of this present age are determined to keep secret at all costs. The existence of giants not only confirms the general narrative of the Bible, but specifically the events recorded in the first verses of Genesis 6 concerning the hybrid offspring of fallen angels. A reality that not only the Smithsonian, but even most theological seminaries across the United States would like to ignore. Reporting for SteveQuayle.com, I'm Timothy Alberino, and that's my analysis.